We are our chapter number 6, geomorphic processes. In this lecture, we will discuss the physical weathering. We already discussed that what is weathering and how many types of weatherings are there. There are three types of weathering: physical weathering, chemical weathering, and biological weathering. Chemical weathering is done by the four processes: oxidation, carbonation, hydration, and solution, which we already discussed in the last lecture. Now focus on the next, physical weathering processes. First of all, what are the factors which influence the physical weathering? First is the gravitational force. Due to the gravitational force, there is overburden, pressure, load, and shearing stress, which make the weathering possible. Second factor is expansion forces, and these expansion forces are due to the temperature changes. The rocks expand due to the temperature changes, crystal growth, or animal activities. All these three things make the expansion forces possible. The third, water pressures controlled by wetting and drying cycles, right? So water also exists pressure on the rocks, which helps to disintegrate the rocks, and this process is controlled by the wetting and drying cycles. How these three factors influence the rocks and make the weathering process possible, we will discuss all these factors one by one. The first is unloading and expansion. Unloading and expansion is also known as pressure release. What happened when there is a rock block in the on the surface of the earth? The removal of overlaying rock load because of continued erosion causes vertical pressure release, with the result that the upper layers of the rock expand, producing disintegration of rock masses. Means when there is a rock block, there is a rock block in any surface. Is there any rock block? Suppose this is a rock. When the upper layer of this rock, this part of rock is eroded due to the erosional work, what would happen? The pressure of the part, the pressure of the low lying part, suppose this is the low lying part, the pressure will release. How does we can understand this concept with an example? Suppose there is a fiber cushion, right? If you place some bricks on this cushion, what would happen? The cushion will be compressed, right? So now if you are taking off one by one brick, then what would happen? The cushion will take its original position, right? So it will begin to take its original position. But by this process, there were some crushes in the cushion, right? So there were some crushes within the cushions. Same happened in the rocks. The rocks have upper layer pressure, right? So upper layer of the rocks have the pressure on the low lying layer of the rocks. When this portion eroded off, the lower portions get the pressure release. So this portion will release the pressure, and there were some cracks within the rocks, which helped to uh, disintegrate the rocks. Correct. The second is temperature changes and expansions. Temperature changes and expansion, because it happened mostly in the hot climate areas, mainly hot dry deserted areas. This is happened. It is also known as insolation. What happened in the dry areas where the temperature is very high? There the day temperature is very high, while in the night the temperature falls. When their day comes, what would happen? The temperature will increase. There is an increase in temperature. Due to the increase in temperature, suppose this is a rock block. This is a rock block, right? So here the temperature is continuously falling in the daytime. Due to the high temperature, the rocks will expand, and when the night come, the temperature goes down. And the temperature goes down, what would happen? The rocks begin to contract. This lead a tension in the within the rocks, and there will be a crack in the rock mass. And later on, what would happen when this process continues? In the next day, same will happen. The day temperature will increases, the rocks will expand, and in the night the temperature falls and the rocks will compress. So by the expansion and compression, it will create more and more tension within the rock, and there will be different cracks in the rock. What would happen when these cracks became larger? This part of rock will fall down, right? So it will separate it from the lower rocks. That is the disintegration of rocks by the temperature changes and by the process of expansion and contraction. And this kind of weathering is known as block disintegration, right? So when oftenly rocks are made up of different minerals which expand and contract at different rates. So this reduces the rocks fragments and pieces. When the rocks converted into some smaller pieces, that is known as granular disintegration. After that, what would happen? These granular disintegrated part that will roll down along the foot of the hill, and there will be a conical deposition of this material that is called talus, right? So in the in mainly it is mainly done in the deserted areas. Now what would happen in the same areas by these expansion and contraction, if it is more than outer rocks, right? So in the hot and deserted area, the outer surface of the rock gets more expansion and contraction. Due to this contraction and expansion, mostly in the outer areas, the outer surface will be peeled off. Like an onion, there is a different layers within the onion. Firstly, you will peel out the first layer, the second layer. After that, there will be second layer peeled off. The third layer will peeled off. After that, same process will go within the rocks. Firstly, the outer part of the rock will came into the contact of high temperature and low temperature, and that due to this factor, the upper layer of the rock will be peeled off, and this process is known as exfoliation, right? So this process is known as exfoliation. Now the third is freezing, thawing, and frost wedging, right? So this process is mainly in the cold areas. It is mostly done in the cold areas where the temperature is very low. But in the colder areas, there is also temperature differences between day and night. In the day, the temperature is more rather than the night. So what would happen? Suppose there is a block of rock, right? So it is a block of rock. What would happen? In the daytime, the temperature is more than the night. So the ice covered areas, suppose this is totally ice covered areas, it will melt in the daytime. What would happen? The water will enter in the cracks of the rocks in the daytime. Now what happened? The night comes and the temperature falls below the freezing point. This water which enters in the daytime in the rocks, it will freeze. right? So it will convert it into the ice. Now the water and the ice, they take different density. On an average, 9 cubic inches of water turns into 10 cubic inches of ice. Suppose if you filled a water bottle from the to the top, right, till the top, if you are filling the water bottle, it will easily contain the water. But if you place it in the freezer, what would happen? The water within bottle will convert into the ice, and the bottle will be deformed, because ice will, same water will convert into the ice, and it will take more space. Same happened in the rocks. When the water enters in the rocks and converted into the ice at night, it will take more space. The crack will be broader, and again this will happen. Now suppose this is a crack, this crack will be broader at the next day. The next day the same thing will happen, the water will, and more water will enter in the broader cracks. At the night it will convert into the ice, and the crack will more width, right? So it will bigger than the before. So again and again this process will going on, and what would happen? The rocks will crack into the pieces, it will break into the pieces. It is called the disintegration of rocks by freezing, thawing, and melting. So again and again, alternative freezing and melting is known as freeze thaw, right? Freeze and thaw. The next is salt weathering. It is mainly in the hot deserted area where the temperature is between 30 degrees Celsius to 50 degrees Celsius. Due to this high temperature, salt expansion is there. There is a evaporation process is high in the deserted areas. What would happen? The water present in the rocks will evaporated, and only salt will be there. So individual falling of individual grains may result in granular disintegration. We already discussed it in the first factor also. So calcium, sodium, magnesium, potassium, and barium, they are hydrated and crystallized due to the expansion of the rocks. So the third one is biological weathering. What do you mean by biological weathering? Biological factors like plant, animals, and human beings, they also contribute to disintegrate the rocks by different methods. That is known as biological weathering. Biological weathering is mainly due to the three factors. First is animal and insects, right? First is animal and insects. Animal and insects disintegrate the rocks by burrowing and wedging, like earthworm, termites, rodents. That helps in exposing the new surfaces to chemical attack and assist the penetration of moisture and air. Because there are million of animals and insects such as dogs, rabbits, rats, jackals, termites, etc., which consume large quantities of rocks and soil for making their habitats. And due to these holes, the rocks weakened and tends to disintegrate. The second is the for example, Sahara, Atacama, Kalahari, Amazon, Nile, May, all these have moraines, right? Due to the presence of animals. Second is vegetation. The long and root fibers of the plants work down into the cracks of rocks. You have might seen the plants or the vegetation on the hilly areas where the very thin soil cover is there on the rocks and the plants are growing. What would happen? The roots of the plants will enter into the rocks. They will make more and more space into the rocks. The rocks will weaken and they will disintegrate. The third factor is man. Men did some procedures like quarrying, mining, deforestation, and indiscriminate cultivation, which led to the contribution of the weathering of the rocks. And this is the important action of man which contribute in the weathering of the rocks. When we quarrying, the rocks will integrate it. When we do the mining processes, when we make some roads and transportation system, the rocks in the hilly areas will be disintegrated. So all these known as biological weathering. So there are some special effects of weathering. First is exfoliation. Exfoliation is a result but not a process. Exfoliation means the peeling off the upper layer of the uh, rocks. So removal of layers from curved surfaces resulted into rounded surfaces. It occurs due to the expansion and contraction. Now, what is the significance of weathering? It is responsible for the formation of soil because the rocks disintegrated into the smaller objects, and these smaller objects further disintegrated into the fine particles, and these fine particles is the cause of soil formation, right? So soil formation, erosion and deposition is possible only due to the weathering process of rocks. Biodiversity is basically depending on depth of weathering. How much the rock will weather, it depends. It influence the biodiversity. Erosion may not be a significant when there is no weathering, because erosion process is possible due to the weathering. If the rock will disintegrate, there will be a material over the rocks, and this material will be transported by the weathering agent. That is called erosion process, right? So erosion is totally depend upon the weathering process. The weathering process will be higher, the erosion work also will be higher. So weathering process also cause the mass wasting, because this material will goes down due to the erosion and weathering. That's cause the mass wasting, and this mass wasting influence the formation of different features over the surface of the earth, right? So landforms are due to the presence of weathering, which influence the erosion, deposition, transportation and mass wasting process. Moreover, when the rocks are decomposed and disintegrate, there are certain minerals are mixed within the water, and so there is the presence of some chemicals like iron, magnesium, aluminium, copper. All these are uh, present in the soils due to the decomposition of the rocks. Now, enrichment. When rocks undergo weathering, some materials are removed through chemical or physical leaching by groundwater, and thereby the concentration of remaining material increases, right? So without such a weathering taking place, the concentration of the same valuable material may not be sufficient. So some materials will be weathered and some other important will be remain in the rocks, and that causes the mines and the mineral occurrence of such rocks. So by the weathering process, the occurrence of minerals is there. Now, the last topic is, what is the difference between physical weathering and chemical weathering? Now, you are able to understand what is the difference between physical weathering and chemical weathering. First, the physical force disintegrate the rocks, means it breaks the rocks. while chemical weathering decomposed by chemical actions. In this, some chemicals react with one another and the rocks will dissolve. They will decompose. Second, in the physical weathering, there is no chemical change because there is a mechanical process. There is a physical process. So chemical process is uh, uh, not so much important in physical weathering. Same here, there is not much importance of physical force, but chemical reaction is more important in chemical weathering. In the physical weathering, the third factor, the physical weathering is more effective in dry and cold areas where the temperature range is very high. In the day and night temperature, there is a difference. So in the dry and cold areas, physical weathering is more important or effective due to the expansion and contraction of the rocks, while chemical weathering is effective in hot and humid areas where the rainfall is sufficient. Water came into contact of rocks and the mineral and the chemicals which are present in the water that react with the rocks and cause the decomposition of the rocks. The fourth difference is the agents of physical weathering are insulation, process, and pressure release. Right. So insulation, frost, here is process, not is the process, this is frost and pressure release are the agents of physical weathering which we discussed recently. And in the agent of chemical weathering are oxidation, carbonation, hydration, and solution. These are the four methods by the which chemical weathering is possible. In the physical weathering, because due to the mechanical breaking, the first layer will peeled off, then the second layer will weathered, then the third layer. So the rocks are affected to a great depth in the physical weathering, while in the chemical weathering, rocks are affected near the surface only, because only the outer layer of the rocks will came into the contact of oxygen, carbon, hydrogen, which are present in the water. So the only the outer surface will came into the contact of water, where the came into the contact of different chemicals, and the outer layer will be decomposed. The last one is even the strong interest in the rocks are affected by physical weathering. Sorry, here we will be strong minerals, because there are weathering agents which disintegrate the rocks, which break the rocks. So more or less time, the rocks will disintegrate. No matter how the rocks will be hard, but the rocks will be weathered by the weathering agents, right? But in the chemical weathering, chemical resistant minerals such as quartz are not much affected by chemical weathering, because this mineral is resistant to chemicals. So the chemicals did not react with the quartz. So the quartz lying rocks are not decomposed by the chemical weathering. So here we discussed the some difference between physical weathering and chemical weathering. You can take a screenshot or you can make the notes. Now, if you have any doubt regarding this topic, you can ask. We will start the next topic of this chapter, mass wasting, in the next lecture.